What we are doing now is winding up to give you a short overview, and here I want to inform those who a few years ago have bought our documentation on Mohenjo-Daro. We'll get a new version, updated one. And we have been working on improving. The problem, not only in archaeology, normally is, and it is even more today, that gigantic data are collected. The problem is not, as we all know professionally, is not to collect the data. The problem is how to manage the data. And here we have already 40 years ago for Mohenjo-Daro developed a system which has proved to be very effective and which is copied nowadays almost everywhere. So the question is, when you take a photo, it's not to take the photo, but after 3 years to find where the photo is coming from. And especially if you take a detailed photo you do not remember. And it's also not done that you have an index card as we used today in former days and write blah 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 blah. So you have to go through 10,000 index cards to trace what you are looking for. Now what we did 40 years ago, jointly with the Institute of Geodesy here in Aachen, we have the ground plans as an orientation system, and each photograph is in relation to the architecture marked with the position of the photographer and the direction. And this photograph or this icon is at the same time, and this is where our colleagues have been working on it, is Mr. Mossakowski and Mr. Tubekis, who are at the camera, where they have been developing a system where if you click on an icon, the photo is coming. Mr. Tubekis has in 2002 done, jointly also with Mr. Mossakowski, a wonderful data bank for Afghanistan. We don't have a copy here, no. Where I think how many registrations up to now? Several thousand registrations are put in an orientation system on the maps. Some of you are using Google. We have been placing, and I think Roland, what you did is too, that of course through the coordinates you can locate it in Google. What we are doing is we take photographs with the GPS cameras. So each photograph you take is within the Gauss-Brügge or whatever system it is fixed, and you can in the future come back to the photograph without any problem. What is the problem? And this we had in Aachen with the Aachen Cathedral. If you have three-dimensional systems to record, and there it doesn't work anymore if you just work with a ground plan. Nowadays we are even going one step further, and the optimum of documentation is to use the film, because then you have not only one photograph, but you have a sequence of photographs. And in Aachen the software has been developed, FDRs, where with two different positions of photographs you can do three-dimensional stereophotographic interpretation up to a specific preciseness. We are also doing, and that is the latest technology with George Tubekis, we have been doing now three-dimensional maps in Afghanistan, in Jam for Junihan. She's at the moment not here. Who is in charge of Jam and Herat. I will talk about this in my lecture. And also for the Bamyan Valley, where we have greatest difficulties in access. And through satellite imagery and latest technology, we can create three-dimensional topographies with a precision of something like 50 centimeters, which is fantastic. So this is something where all of you always were interested in to include latest technology in archaeology. And what we show you now is the data bank of Mohenjo-Daro with the historic photography. We have about 8,000 old photographs. I have about 100,000 photographs which we took between 1979 and 1987 in Mohenjo-Daro. Mohenjo-Daro, I would claim, is the best documented site I can imagine of. We have more than 600 low-altitude photographic photographs from Hot Avenue, sometimes with a height of only 5 meters. photos which were used in the survey. Carl and Marty have been visiting us, where Massimo, for example, when he had a workshop where we were working on plans, not touching the surface, where they found these small drills, where we took the photograph from the hot air balloon, and in the print of the photograph they could mark the position of everything. So, I mean, this was all developed in 1980 when Maurizio joined us in Mohenjo-Daro, and we jointly, in a very creative way, Rita was there, many people visited us when Jarish was in Merga, where we worked at Mohenjo-Daro and collected the data. So now here, please show us a little bit about the management of this photography.
Young Jansen, English,
Yes, that's right. Yeah.
Thank you very much for letting me speak in front of you. My name is Gustaf Mossakowski. I'm an architect and designer, and I have been working with Michael Jansen and Joris Subeke since about 10 years. And we did, as you already said, mainly projects in Mohenjo-Daro and in Afghanistan. This is what we were just heard. This is the balloon, I presume, where the photographs were taken off. And on the right side you see a few photographs. These were the parallel photographs which were taken in the 80s, which we will see a little later. This is an example of one of these photographs taken from the balloon. Here you can see that it is it's projected, so you can use it as a plan. If you look at it, it really looks like a plan, just in 3D and no drawing at all. So what did, I can't say we because I wasn't there in 1981, I'm not that old. What did the Department of Urban History and Professor Jansen do? This is a photograph taken in 1981. In Mohenjo-Daro, and on the left side you see a photograph from 1925-26, which was taken directly after or in the course of the excavation. On the right side we see it's not really the same position, but it's you can see if you look closely that this is the opening here.
It's another one. I have to correct you. But these are both cold because this is 1981 and it was not closed. Excuse me if I just... very short, you see this is one of the rare photographs where the condition between 1925 and 1981 has not changed. So I told you yesterday already, the historic photograph has become the primary source and has become the basis for what I will show you later in my lecture, namely the critical evaluation of the archaeological remains. And here we all are very clear, we only can work with the primary source which has not changed. And therefore, conservation in archaeology means to protect the site in its original state. This is what UNESCO calls authenticity and the so-called outstanding universal value. And just to tell you, I told you I can date walls by technique, and look here at this corner. The problem in a brick wall, whoever has worked with brick walls, is the corner solution. You have the brick is the proportion 1 to 2 to 4. That means if you have half a brick and you take a full brick, the half brick is exactly coming here. Now if the next row goes here, you have to try, you cannot put half a brick, because if you put half a brick here, there would be a joint which goes through. So you have to work with quarter bricks to avoid this gapping, vertical gapping. And this is a technology which we normally know in our modern techniques as blockverband or English bond, a specific technique, and in the late period, this technique is not known anymore. So by the construction technique we have, we can identify to which period, more or less, the bricks belong. But again the question, this is high technology. Where was it developed? I mean, this needs a period of experimenting, and this is one of the reasons why they do 1 to 2 to 4. In the bricks, to develop this technology. And we have hardly looked into this enormously rich amount of archaeological information from the sites of Jarish to Haryana, wherever we are. So normally we are only working with the artifacts, but we are not working with the information system out of the brick walls.
So what we can see here is this is, so this was in 1981 the current state, this was the old state, and probably this is not the current state now, but it's close to the place, I guess. And so what we see here is that we have a need for pictures for the representations of the older states as well when working with the current states, because we don't know if the current state or how much the current state resembles the original state when it was excavated, which can still be different from the original state when it was built. It's what we call historical documentation as a primary source, which my grandson just said, because physical evidence gets lost. This is a worse example where you see the well was, when excavated, was still very well preserved, and now it's more or less, at least at the top, it's a room. Yeah, we in 1997, the Department of History published this CD-ROM set with 2 booklets where we have all the information in printed and in digital form. And as you can see, the printed form, of course, is very nice to work with, but you can't really say, okay, I would like to have all the data from the 1924 to 25 area excavations from the DKA area or whatever. You can do so. We have provided a few different views of this data. So this is sorted by area. Then there's something sorted by a SIN volume number, but you can't really say, okay, I want to have just a set of it. If I'm, for example, interested in terracotta seals order. This is the new version of the original 1997 publication on CD-ROM, where you have these location plans. So, for example, we have again this well we saw earlier on the right side, and it's located here in the HR area. It's looking, it's heading east, and we can see both pictures from the 1925 to 1926 excavations and from 1980 the new one besides it.
Just one more explanation. The problem was, and this was 15 years of work to make it understandable. We have 8,000 photographs, and you have a photograph, and you have to tell where in 40 kilometers of wall, where this wall is. That means only after we have been working there almost 10 years, the site was so familiar for us that we knew every wall. So we could look at a photograph and we could say it is DKG South, House 23. And only very few photos we could not identify. So at least most of the historic documentary, which only had names which even nowadays are not known anymore, could be relocated. And I think that is the value of this documentary. And if you want to see, for example, this wall, how it looks like, you just click on that icon and then the photo normally should come.
You can show this at the end of the presentation. Yeah, what was the purpose of the documentation? Here on the right side is the famous priest king. On the left side you see the situation when it was found. So it's a small statue here. All the findings are in this, published in the SIN volumes. This is SIN volume number 7 out of 31 from 1925 to 26, entry 401. So this would be a very, it's a very good identification one can work with. It has the text as well, a stone statue number 1909, priest king. We'll see this 1909 later. We have made a reproduction in Aachen here in 1981. It was film number 11, picture number 2, reproduction MD means in Mohenjo-Daro. You can see this.
And out of this number 1909, we have the field books. So we can go to the field book. We have the number 1909, and we have all the technical data of the discovery of this object. That means it's a closed system now.
Yeah, you see here, this is the original finding. This is the priest king. It was documented first in the field book for DKG area as number 1909. It was found on January 9th, 1919. Then it was called a stone bust of a bearded nobleman. We have a location and we have a level. And we can say this object is approximately 4,000 years old, plus or minus 500 years. And what we have now, in 1925, 1926, we have this reproduction which was made. Here we can see there are further reproductions, but here we can see one front view and one rear view. And this is collected in the SINT volumes number 7. This is entry 400, this is entry 401.
Is that correct?
The reference system is yours in Delhi, where you have in Janpat the SINT volumes in your photothèque. So it is your SINT volume number 7, entry number 400 and 401. And I don't know if the photos are still with you. What happened in the 70s, that whoever wrote an article went to the SINT volumes, took the photo, and didn't bring them back. So we have the photos which you might not have in Delhi anymore. And the same accounts for Pakistan, where your collections are incomplete, while this collection is complete.
But my doubt is on the date. It was found, it's dated 9th January 1990. Is it correct?
No, this is the field book number.
No,
It's the registration.
The date also what it says in the field books.
No, that is right. No. You are absolutely right. It's found 1924. This, I don't know where this entry comes from.
From the field books. It's in there. I don't
No,
know.
because when the excavation started, 1920.
1990, there was no excavation.
It is not really.
Yeah, no, we have to have a look.
Yeah.
Have a look at it.
The final rechecking has to be done, and that's a very important contribution. This has to be checked. Yeah.
Yeah, of course. It started in 1922, it can't be 1990.
I think, yeah.
Okay, and so here we have the identification of the picture, which is right now for 3 places, or maybe not anymore, in Karachi, in Delhi, and in Mohenjo-Daro. And then we have the reproductions here in Aachen, which were from 1981, from the Delhi archives, and then in 1982 it was taken twice in Mohenjo-Daro on negative. This is 1980, 1981, 1982, and now we have the digital artifacts from the CD publication 1997, which was scanned in 1996, 97, and now which are rescanned for better quality and higher resolution. And each artifact, each digital artifact gets a number which identifies that this is an object, that's O. There are also other letters for the areas. One would mean it's from the 1981 films, reproduction, film 11, and picture number 2.
And
So
we
we have,
of course, both
direct-
service will get a copy from us. Now, once we have it finalized, of course, with thanks to both institutions who in those under the permit, we got the permit from JBOSHI in those days, and that was very generous, but we have brought them together. They will be of use for everyone.
The reason for this slide is only also to document that each time and each type of documentation has its particular system which has to be somehow taken into account, especially when you in the future work with digital artifacts. So somehow you have even not only to record the artifact itself, where it comes from, but also somehow its entire genealogy, how you have come there in order to be able to trace the different state, the different, let's say, variants of a digital artifact. This is only to show that in a digital system you have to record much more information than you might think of in the beginning, and that is only the reason for this slide.
Gustaf,
Yeah. So this is an overview of all the pictures we have. It's just just different approaches. So we have a quick overview for visual recognition. We have a list of the SID volumes text. We have a list of the field books.
Go back, just to explain one. You see, this is the field books of VS area beds, which was, I think, 1924-25, it should be somewhere there. We have the number, the running number, the store, artifacts, as you can see in the photography.
And this is just as an example what I told earlier. If you want to look for something, I just took seals. You will find all the entries where you have seals on them. And some have no reproduction, these are not scanned, and this is scanned. And here you can find all the file numbers from the field books. For example, here this is DK area number 4313. And if you have a look at you can have a look at the picture, you can see this is this one here in the upper right corner. It says DK4313. You can have the
Well, I just have to explain, in the SID volumes, you have the photographs and you have the little undertitle. And there are the numbers of the objects, but they are mirrored, upside down, because what they did, they wrote the numbers of the seals on the back. They looked at through the photograph and wrote on the back the seal number. Then somebody took the photograph and wrote the seal numbers, but all the seal numbers are from right to left and not from left to right. So, I mean, there are 100,000 tricks until the system is working, but here they are mentioned within the photograph.
Yeah, this is an old scan which will be replaced, so this is number DK4313, and you can then later on search in the field books. This would be just a search by number 4313. And you see it's a seal with a unicorn, material, size, condition, whatever.
And the location, that's the location,
of course. There's and we have the store and whatever it means, Mohenjo-Daro. The store and this.
It could be Mohenjo-Daro.
You can show the photographs of the seal also.
Yeah.
But now we have better quality, isn't it?
They're not, this, we don't have this in the database yet, but
Now we have better
quality
solution.
This is the quality from the CD set.
From the old set.
Yeah, that's what it is.
So, like, if you wanted to publish it, then what?
Primarily, the copyright of the photos is with us. We did the documentation. The original is not under copyright anymore. But, I mean, we anticipate the courtesy of whom? Interesting question. I would say, tell it to Aachen University, and if anybody has problems, we will fight for it. Because the legal right was with the pre-partition Archaeological Survey of India. But according, now I don't touch this question, due to the separation, the right went to Pakistan.
It was decided during partition time that like dancing girl is in India, the king priest is in Pakistan, all other assets which were located in those days in Pakistan, so those are the property of government of Pakistan, and those which were lying in India
were Indian.
These
And
are
those
the
who are
property
in
of
the British
British
Museum are British Museum.
Yeah.
So, Michael, who has copyright if one wants to publish one of your images?
I'm sorry?
Who has copyright if one wants to publish one of your
And
images?
this was the question of
If I can
What's the answer?
because you were granted license or whatever or permission by the government of Pakistan. So the copyright will remain with the government of Pakistan. So if you are publishing, because of that agreement, you have give the old reports and everything which you have done in this project during 5 years with the government of Pakistan?
No, it's the same government of India, because what about the photographs? You have doubles.
You double. You have taken photographs from Delhi somewhere. Okay, you give it to them.
Yeah. So the photographs, but according to the international copyright, the one who takes the photo at first is the owner with the copyright of the ownership. And as your synth volumes are older than 8 years, there is no copyright on any of the photos anymore. There is no copyright. But I am who's taking the photograph myself with the permission. I'm the owner of the copyright of this photo. Sorry. But we are not charging, and of course the question is, and that is why I said, we have not done it, we are not money people, we are scientists, and we are very, very happy to have this collection, to provide it to you for the research. I mean, that's the background. And never we have asked anybody to pay a single penny for the copyright. We charged for the distribution of these things because this was 10 years work, and we have paid 100,000 working hours in it, and that was Aachen University. And the copyright is, we have given it, it's not my private, it is with Aachen, with the institution who did it. But I mean, here we can be clear, we are not claiming any right, and it would be nice to say with the courtesy of another question, I think both surveys, ASI and Department of Archaeology.
Well, Michael, do I understand you right that one could buy your archive and then publish from it the photographs?
I would say yes. I would say yes.
Excellent.
Yeah, I think so.
Excellent.
And I mean, for us, the little bit is that, of course, once we have a kind of a break even, we could jointly decide what to do with this Databank system. It could be we didn't put it into the internet. We can do it on a low quality, but somewhere must be a center, a little bit to control it. But we see us as custodians of what we generously have been permitted to collect. So it's the property of science.
Excellent.
Of course.
May I use the opportunity, since you have touched this matter now, to mention that until now, we have talked about it in the electronic version, which is now complete again, but we never took the efforts of printing them out together. You have seen before that they had at that time existed just a list of text, but it was not associated to the appropriate picture, because at that time, 97, it was not possible to have access list somehow printed out of the picture. And now, Michael, I would like you to hand you over a gift, which is, in fact, the first time since many, many years, printed out synth volumes, reconstructed.
I didn't know that.
Version 1, well, at least everything what we have in the database, printed out, which might serve you, but now since you have time to do all the connections, all
I'll pass it. Thank you very much. I didn't pass it around, and now we come to the major reason why we are also collecting here. We will, you know, I am on pension now. Now with the university, I still have could keep all my infrastructure budget and so on, because we still have 2 or 3 major projects which are running. So we will be in Aachen until definitely next year. But we have received a generous offer by a minister of Oman, who also is financing the private university of Aachen in Oman, which is the Geotech, German University of Technology. He comes from a very literate family. His grandfather was a famous poet. He also wants to construct a museum. So this family is science-oriented. And we will shift whatever we have in Aachen to Oman. Our idea is to both have an open research center where whoever wants to join can join, and I can imagine that from there we might be having a kind of corresponding relationship to different institutions in the world. We have discussed with Philip in Kabul. We would be trying to get connections to universities in Pakistan, and at the same time we want to establish a UNESCO chair for conservation and cultural management in Muscat to be able to serve for the region as a kind of hub, as a kind of center for improvement. And of course India is very important, and we would be very much appreciating to be in closer contacts. It should be non-competitive, it should be international, it should be open, and here of course this data bank would be part of it, because, and that has shown this 2 days research we had, we are all interested in solving problems, and here we are happy if we find ways to to solve these problems in an appropriate way. So, goodbye to Aachen, I will say that in my lecture, and welcome to Oman. And from us as hosts, it was wonderful to have you here especially, and maybe we still make it to take a photograph, but I must say, I think this meeting will be a historic one. It's very rare. Hauptmann asked me, how did we get the people here? And I said, very simple, I sent a bus to Paris and brought them. And I mean, this was a little bit the trick. Thanks to the South Asian archaeology in Paris, it was for us also financially possible to bring you here. And maybe we can continue in the future. I think we all have understood that such small gatherings are a creative kind of hub. Ideas can be further developed, and of course we don't want to work out general strategies. Everyone as a scientist will take that what he thinks is important for him from this meeting. So thank you all. Maybe we should try before the next rain is coming, and maybe we don't have to go to the main building.